Hi, join me today. We're going to make American goulash. It's hamburger, tomato, macaroni, and cheese. Just a really easy recipe. Reminds me of my childhood. Just really delicious and easy to make on a busy weeknight. Let's get started. For this, you will need about a tablespoon of olive oil, some diced onion, about a pound of ground beef, 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, 4 cups chicken broth, a 24-ounce bottle of strained tomato, 18.3 of crushed tomatoes, anywhere around there, about 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, and 2 tablespoons of Italian herb, and 2 teaspoons of sea salt, 2 teaspoons of paprika, and 3 bay leaves, 2 cups dried macaroni, 1 cup shredded cheddar cheese, and about a half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of ground pepper. Okay, let's get started. Okay, over a medium-high heat, get your pan warmed up. This is a cast iron Dutch oven pot, but if you don't have that, just any larger pot would work. Add in your olive oil and let that heat up. You want to make sure it's nice and hot before you add the onions into it, but we're going to add the onions into it. We're going to cook for about 3 minutes. And then we're going to add our hamburger. Just gonna pre-chop it a little bit on the plate here. Totally fine to just throw it in and do this in a second because I'm going to do more inside the pan. Just kind of chop it, and then you want to kind of turn it to get the brown side off and get the raw side down, and again chop it. If you don't do this chopping action, it cooks in big clumps, and so you have giant hamburger pieces. That's why you just want to keep kind of turning it and chopping it. It's about where we want it to be on brownness and separated. Now we're going to just pull it back to one side. Going to get all of those juices out of there the best we can. Might be some water, but the majority of that is fat, or at least some of it, and it will not taste very nice if you leave all that fat in there. Yeah, and definitely some of this is water from the meat and probably the onion, but I'm just going to get it out. I'm going to throw a paper towel in there and get what juices I can out of that. And that's going to be good enough for me. Now we are going to add in the garlic. If you add this in the beginning, it probably will burn. We're just going to cook it for a couple of minutes, maybe about 3 minutes. Okay. We are going to add in 4 cups of chicken broth, 24 ounces of strained tomatoes or tomato sauce. We're going to add 2 tablespoons Worcestershire sauce and 2 tablespoons Italian seasoning, 2 teaspoons sea salt, 2 teaspoons paprika, 3 bay leaves. Let's do 2 cups of the macaroni. Stir this all together. I should have gone for my bigger pan. Okay, we are going to bring this to a boil and then cook for about 11 to 13 minutes. And when you're stirring, get along the bottom so it doesn't stick. Okay, so let's wait for that to start to boil, and then we will simmer. Okay, it's starting to come to a boil. I am going to turn it down a little bit because my pan is so full. And then I'm going to start the timer for 11 minutes. And I'm going to cover it, but I'm going to be close and have it a little bit cracked so that it doesn't boil over and make a mess. So we'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed. But I just checked this and the macaroni is tender. So that is done. Okay, to this we are going to add a cup of cheddar cheese and the pepper. And this is optional, but chopped Italian parsley. Let's stir that around. There'll be cheese in there and we just want it to melt throughout. So we don't want to miss a pocket of the cheese. Okay, and I just saw a bay leaf. Let's try to pick those out of there as you see them. If you don't, just tell your family it's in there. And that way, be careful. You should not eat those. So we are going to serve it up in a bowl. And let's eat this with a spoon just because it's so saucy, really good. Also, you do want to taste it and make sure you don't need to add a little bit more salt or more pepper. So I should do that, but when I tasted it for the doneness of the macaroni, it tasted pretty well salted, and then we just added cheese. So we should be all good. So thank you for joining me. So excited to dig into this dinner. It really reminds me of my childhood. Goulash, the way I grew up with it. So it's an American goulash. If you like cheese, add more cheese. But this makes really good leftovers. Take it to work with you. Your kids will learn what kind of food you grew up on. And if you didn't grow up on it, try it. It's really a comforting, easy meal. And I'm just serving it with a simple salad with some creamy dressing, some crusty bread. The bread is really good to soak up some of the juices that will be left on the bottom when you're all done. Let me know if you tried this and how you liked it. Thank you for joining me.